When you look at crime in the country, how exactly has it evolved over time?
Like any other country in the world, first of all, we are not touched. We are not excluded from globalization. I think crime has evolved over time. It's become complex, and technology has also not helped. It's a double-edged sword. It has its benefit, but it also brings a lot of challenges to those people who are meant to keep the peace and ensure that crime does not occur. So crime has become complex. The fact that we can move faster, and the fact that boundaries and borders are no longer what they used to be. They are amorphous and porous. Crime has not been an issue that we can easily be able to deal with and eliminate. And Kenya itself is in a very peculiar position, considering that we are bordered by very unstable countries around us. Crime, therefore, is very complex. If you look at Somalia, South Sudan, and now Ethiopia that has been destabilized, we are facing a lot of pressures, and therefore crime is not what it used to be.
Right. And when you look at the incidences that are happening in the country, where are you seeing more increase? Is it economic, corruption? Which one's in nature?
You see, they're all interlinked. One of the reasons why we say that corruption is number one priority is because it exacerbates all these crimes. It makes it difficult for us to be able to deal with the even more complex crimes. So corruption itself makes us more vulnerable as a country. And that's why it's important to be able to deal with corruption and then also be able to cascade down to deal with other crimes much easily. If you look at, for example, terrorism, terrorists it would be easier for them to undertake a terrorist act if you have a corrupt police officer, if you have a corrupt prosecutor, a corrupt judge or magistrate, or a corrupt government official on the ground, a corrupt revenue authority officer. So in essence, they're all interlinked. And we can only be able to deal with this if we're able to peel the different layers. And the most important one is trying to eliminate corruption and therefore be able to deal with crime more effectively and efficiently.
We're now heading to the elections. Are you worried in any sense that we will see an uptick, especially in relation to corruption?
I think that there's a historical trend that we've seen in Kenya. A lot of the big crimes tend to occur, especially corruption, when you just before an election or just prior to an election. Because those people or the criminals find it much easier to perpetrate that when they consider that the government is at its weakest point during a transition or during an election. Of course, there will be a surge in a number of crimes because they see that as an opportunity. As a country, we're going to be stretched. Law enforcement will have to ensure that the borders are secure, but they will also have to ensure that there are no hate crimes, there is no violence, votes are not stolen. So in essence, we will be really outstretched as people within the criminal justice system and the criminal law enforcement area. And because of that, criminals are going to try and exploit that. So yes, we will see an increase. And the question is, are we prepared? We are trying to prepare ourselves out of experience and through strategic means to deal with this.
What are some of these measures that you're likely to put in place?
Well, there's quite a number of measures. Of course, there's the issues of prevention. There's the issue of expediting some of the cases in court. But also my colleagues within the National Police Service, you've seen the IG, I think has tried to put quite a number of measures in place. Other colleagues like NCIC are also on the ground. We are doing joint trainings and preparing ourselves jointly, including the IEBC.
And when you're looking at these sort of crimes, who are you worried about the most? Are you worried about politicians behaving badly, or are you worried about, even civilians themselves not abiding to the law?
I think, you cannot only pick on politicians alone. Politicians are able to do what they are doing because the public has given them that room. First, by electing politicians who do not respect the rule of law, if they're there. And by allowing them to behave the way some of them have been behaving. So in essence, it's not just about the politicians. It's also about the citizenry itself. And the politicians are a reflection of its citizenry.